trying to connect. Oh, hey, here we go. I think we're streaming. Austin. Yay. All right. I guess when I know people can like hear me, I can get started here. Woo-hoo-hoo. We're coming to you live from Minnesota podcasting this morning, where I'm getting ready to record my very first episode of my podcast launching in February. So I'm really excited to share this experience with all of you today, because I feel so professional. Austin, don't you feel professional?
Sure.
Okay. Sure. And let's see here. I'm going to share.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
You're official producer here.
All right.
Okay.
Sound check.
Okay. Check.
And
1, 2.
So pull the mic a little bit closer.
Okay.
Maybe about like one good. Yeah, that's perfect.
Right here?
Yep.
Ooh.
And maybe
okay.
tilt it down just a little bit so it's kind of aimed right at your mouth.
Okay. This feels so crazy. I can't believe I'm doing this.
Yeah. Good.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right.
That's great. How does it sound to you?
It sounds good. I feel like I want to lean in though. Like I want to keep. I want to get close.
It's the most important part. It doesn't matter whether you're close or far away. Just consistent. Don't go back and forth, and then your voice comes in and out, and you sound kind of weird.
I think some of my other episodes that I've recorded may be like that.
Austin, if you want to hear what it sounds, you can pick up that pair of headphones and put that on.
So question, because Austin's in studio, there's a section where I'm just going to have him come on to say hello.
Absolutely.
And then right at the beginning.
Hey, Austin, actually, why don't you switch chairs? Why don't you sit over there?
Everyone who's watching, we're live streaming from Minnesota podcasting this morning, and Austin's joining me here in studio, and we're recording my first episode of the podcast. I'm so excited. So welcome to all of you who are live streaming with me this morning. Say hello on the Facebook chat. Hi, everybody. I'm so glad to have you guys here supporting me this morning. I'm feeling officially official as we get ready to launch in February. This is so exciting.
How does that sound?
Good.
Can you hear it through the headphones?
Yep.
Good.
Let's see. Oh, we're going to move it this way. Hi, Austin. All right, I'm going to just move it a little so we can both get in
tilt
here.
down your microphone just so it kind of comes through your mouth there.
All right.
Okay.
Perfect. All right. So let's get this on here. Okay, Austin, just give me a quick mic check. Just say and spell your name.
Austin. Austin.
Can you just speak normal? Are you just going to speak like that?
It's the great universal shutter-upper, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can be talking all day long, but the moment the mic's in front of you, boom, nothing.
Come this way a little
It's
bit.
terrifying.
Come in here with me.
So the important part to understand about this is all edited. This is all editable.
Yeah.
So screw up as much as you want. Take pauses.
Oh.
Like if you want to just take a pause between sentences and catch your breath, don't worry about it. I edit all that out. Background noise that you might hear.
Yeah.
All of that comes
Sometimes
out.
I talk a little fast whenever I'm nervous, so I'll try to slow it down.
Sure. And
Slow it down for
and
people.
if you don't like something that you recorded, we'll re-record.
Is there a word like when I pause, or do you just take a natural break whenever I stop? Okay.
You
Okay.
just go and you just do it however you feel comfortable. And
Deanna Henry says hi. This is exciting. Thanks for joining, Deanna. We're getting ready to kick off here in a few minutes.
okay, so you are recording.
Okay.
So whenever you feel comfortable, you just go for it.
All right. Woohoo, here we go, everybody. I'm so excited. Okay. Now I'm going to start.
Okay.
Hey there, my name's Erin Hente, and I'm truly honored that you chose to listen to this podcast. If you stick around long enough, I know you'll gain tips, tools, and hear inspirational stories from others on a similar journey that will support you on the road ahead. I want to get started by welcoming you.
Figured out what I wanted.
I want to get started by welcoming you to this very special kickoff episode of the Now What podcast. In this episode, I will share with you how I got here, what you'll gain from listening to the podcast, the number one thing you can do in order to step forward with confidence on your journey, and one phone call that changed my life and can change yours too. Are you ready to get started? Me too. First, I just want to say how grateful I am in this moment because I never thought I'd be sitting in a real life podcasting recording studio. So a huge shout out to Minnesota Podcasting in St. Paul, Minnesota for offering me this space to be here with you today. Also joining me in the studio is my 12-year-old son, Austin. Say hello, Austin.
Hello.
Are you excited to be here with me today?
Yes, I am.
I am so glad. On the way here, Austin wasn't so sure, but now he's up and awake and here with us today. I just have to say thank you, buddy, for being here to support me, and I'm excited for you to join me for episode 12 of the podcast.
Yay.
All right, you'll hear more from my kiddos in the upcoming weeks who will be sharing their stories to help parents with grieving children understand what was most helpful to them on their journey. The first thing I wanted to share with you today is how I got here. So you know a little about why I will be your host and guide on this journey ahead. I've also added the link to the 20th anniversary tribute video that I put together for Andy in the show notes, and the link to my About page on my website, so be sure to check that out too. I grew up on 13 acres in the countryside of southeast Missouri. My entrepreneurial journey began when my parents purchased a small-town convenience store that my 3 siblings and I worked at to learn the value of hard work and money. It was in Missouri where I met my husband, Andy, when I was 17 years old. He jumped into... I want to laugh. You can cut that out. I have these visions when I'm saying these things that sometimes I laugh and cry. Okay. I'll start over. I was in Missouri where I met my husband Andy when I was 17 years old. He jumped into my car one random day after school when I was taking a friend home. My friend recognized him sitting at the park that all the locals hung out at after school. So we went down there so she could say hello, and the rest was history. He became my best friend, love of my life, and the biggest supporter of my wild and crazy dreams, including my decision to go back to college while working full-time after the birth of our first child, Selena. 5 years later, I knew I had a strong desire to help prepare people for the unexpected, which led me to accepting a position in 2007 as a financial advisor for a financial services organization after the birth. Sorry.
Let's pick it up.
5 years?
No, that sentence that ended with Selena.
Okay, yeah.
Pick it up at that sentence.
I definitely need something because my throat keeps getting stuck.
Sorry, I forgot what-
No, it's okay. I should have brought water. 5 years later, I knew I had a strong desire to help prepare people for the unexpected, which led me to accepting a position in 2007 as a financial advisor for a financial services organization after the birth of our second child, Lila. 4 years later, after the birth of our third child, Austin, I would go on to accept a position in the corporate office of the organization I worked for, located in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We left everything we knew behind, our family, our friends, and our former selves, and moved our family to Minnesota to begin a new chapter of our life. Little did I know at the time, everything I'd prepared for throughout our time together couldn't have emotionally prepared me for what was to come next. Sorry, my eye is watering. Okay. In 2014, Andy's father passed suddenly, and only 7 months later, in July 2015, Andy died suddenly in a work accident. I felt lost, overwhelmed and unsure what to do next. I was connecting with others, showing up for work and life. Everyone thought I was fine. But soon I realized I was just going through the motions, and I wanted to experience more from this life. I began working with a life coach and soon gained the tools I needed to truly start experiencing life in a way that was meaningful for me. I began to uncover all the joy I once had in this new chapter of my life, and I felt more confident as I stepped forward, even though I had no idea what was next for me. Thankfully, I had done the work to understand what I needed after loss, because on Memorial Day in 2020, after a long, beautiful weekend with my sister's family at their cabin, my sister Amy and niece Abby died suddenly in an auto accident when their family was on the way home. I tell you all of this because I want you to know that I'm here for you. And throughout the podcast, you will gain a better understanding of how to navigate life after loss through tips, tools, and inspirational stories from others on a similar journey. I will share the tools that allowed me to step forward with more confidence on my journey. And let me just say, wherever you may find yourself today, the journey will lead... Sorry.
Pick it up, Ed. Let me just say.
Yep. Let me just say, wherever you may find yourself today, this journey will lead you to exactly where you're supposed to be, even if you aren't sure of where that is quite yet. If you're interested in sharing your story with me, be sure to go to the show notes to find the link to submit your story so you may be selected to share on a future episode. I'm going to redo that one. Sorry. Good thing you're helping me here. Okay. If you're interested in sharing your story with me, be sure to go to the show notes to check out the link to submit your story so you may be selected for a future episode of the Now What podcast. The number one thing I came on to share with you today is that you already have everything you need right inside of you. I know that may not seem possible right now. I know your entire life completely shattered when your loved one passed. I also know that you find yourself looking at those shattered pieces of your life, wondering how you are ever going to put them all back together and move forward on your journey. As you start to pick up those pieces and remind yourself of what was, you may experience equal parts joy and pain. You long for what was, and you may not be sure what is to come. Let me just say that those pieces, all the experiences, thoughts, emotions you've ever been through, and what we'll use... Okay, I'm going to go back to let me just say. Let me just say that all those pieces, all the experiences, thoughts, emotions you've ever been through are what we will use to lay the foundation for this next chapter of your life. The key is stepping forward with confidence. Live streamers, they're watching me like, okay, Erin. All right. The key to stepping forward with confidence is uncovering those pieces you want to carry forward with you. In that process, you'll rediscover the joy, happiness, and peace that you've been longing for. And with that, the confidence as you're reminded that you already know what you need on this journey ahead. How do I know this? I have a process I've personally been through, and I've helped many other women just like you with my Becoming You coaching program. They've experienced more hope, joy, and happiness, and many have even found love again after loss. I can promise you that your journey didn't end when your loved one passed. It had only just begun, and I will show you how. There's one final thing I wanted to share with you today. When I took a leave of absence from work in 2017, I was on a long road trip from visiting family in Missouri. I really had no idea what was going... My lips keep getting stuck together. I really had no idea what was going to come next. I'm just going to redo that one again. I really had no idea what was going to come next after my leave from the career that moved our family to Minnesota in the first place. I was overwhelmed with emotions that had left me feeling stuck. I remember telling myself, I don't know what to do anymore, but I did. It was on that road trip home while listening to a podcast similar to this one that I learned that my feelings were normal. And when unexpected things in this life happen, those emotions can leave us feeling stuck. I also learned that life doesn't always have to be this way. If I wanted to experience more from life, I could pick up the phone for a 30-minute call with a coach and find out how. That was my lifeline at the moment and gave me a sense of hope, and I hadn't experienced in quite some time, even after working with a therapist for years. So, I'm offering you the opportunity to join me for a call that will help you uncover what's next for you. A life filled with purpose, a life filled with joy, or maybe a life you can truly love. I have a special offer waiting for you today in the show notes, a link to complete a form and set up a 30-minute breakthrough call. It's a call that changed my life and could most certainly change yours as well. But regardless of whether you accept the invitation today, I want you to know this. I was on a roll. It's a call that changed my life and could most certainly change yours as well. But regardless of whether you accept that invitation today, I want you to know that the future episodes in this podcast will be packed full with stories, tips, and tools to continue to support you as you navigate the journey ahead. So please be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss a single episode. It is such an honor to be on this journey with you. So thank you for investing your time to be here with me today. Until next time, I'm wishing you all the best.
Bye.
Good job. Very good job.
Woo! My eye is like, it's allergies. I wish I could say I was crying the whole time, but I'm like, my eye, like, just will not stop running. So, anything that needs to be gone back, did it sound good? The tone,
There's one sentence that very, I think it's like in the second paragraph, and it ends with your daughter's name, Selena.
Selena, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
It ends with that, like a comma, my oldest daughter,
Yes.
Selena.
Okay.
That entire sentence, if you could just read that sentence.
Ooh, okay. All right. So that was, let's see, on the first page, I was talking about Selena. Okay. Then, so like he became my best friend, love of my life, biggest supporter. Yeah. That one ended with Selena. Okay. Yeah. Just that sentence.
Just that sentence.
All right. I'm gonna start reading the sentence before so I can get like what I was feeling in that moment.
Right. The cadence. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. My friend recognized him sitting at the park that all the locals hang out at after school. So we went down there so she could say hello, and the rest was history. He became my best friend, love of my life, and the biggest supporter of my wild and crazy dreams, including my decision to go back to college while working full-time after the birth of our first child, Selena.
Perfect. Could you send me a copy of that?
Yes.
If you haven't already.
I have it on Google. I'll just add it over to the drive that I shared with you.
No problem.
I kind of keep it outside the drive until like you need something.
Right.
So then that could be like, now that I've like scripted it word for word, that could almost be just the transcript for the.
Sure.
I mean,
yeah. Yeah, I would imagine.
I mean, I won't always have it all written down because most of my other episodes are like free flow unless it's my episode because. Yeah, I want to have it like completely scripted out.
When you're in an interview situation, when you're talking to a guest,
you want to be organic.
Yeah, you don't have everything scripted, so that's where a transcript really becomes important. Because also in those situations, like here, we're hanging on every word, right?
Yes.
So you can go back. Sometimes in a free flowing conversation, someone might get off the mic or something like that because you're just talking to one another. And it might be something important that someone really wants to go back on. What was said there? So.
Yeah, so because this is my welcome episode, I do talk about like that opportunity to work with me. Mm-hmm. But then I know my outro also mentions it.
Right.
You think that's
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Because in the other episodes, I won't necessarily. But one thing I do, that when in the other episodes, I wasn't sure if I was going to be all professional and do a separate intro and outro and all that. So I'll just make some notes on those other episodes that I recorded of like, you can cut some of the parts out where I started to do a makeshift intro. Maybe it's fine and we can just slap the intro and outro and it'll be okay. But I'll just re-listen to them just so I can kind of get a feel for what needs to.
And the music helps a lot. You know, like
Yeah.
usually during intros and outros, there's music in the background. And
Oh,
then
I got on to
fades
look. I got on to listen to music. I have no idea.
Yeah, it's tough. I'll send you some.
Like if you have a few that maybe like, well, I had marked the ones that I liked, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if I put it in the document that I sent you. It was just so tough to like figure it out.
Yeah, and it's, you know, wading through all the kind of the cheesy sounding ones to get to some good sounding ones. That can be difficult.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. All the decisions and all the background. I just have to tell everybody that goes into making a podcast. Woo! I know I could have done it on my own, but it's so much more fun in studio with Marshall creating. I feel like I have an official producer. So, I will be live streaming future episodes when I do them in studio. And so everybody that's streaming with us live right now, thank you so much for joining us for this very first episode recording. I've recorded other episodes that are going to be coming out later on. If you want to know when the podcast is launching, please go to my website, www.erinhente.com/newsletter. I'll drop it in link in the comments below, and you can sign up for my email list. And guess what? Like if you keep getting emails from me all the time and you don't want to get emails anymore, that's okay too. But you'll know when the podcast is coming. You'll know how I help people. And if anything, I just ask that you share this with others that may be on a similar journey as our families. So thank you so much for being on here live today. I really appreciate it. Austin, say goodbye.
Goodbye, live.
Goodbye, live. We are going off air.